Welcome to NTD News. I'm Kevin Hogan. Here are today's top stories. Countries are responding to a second wave of CCP virus cases sweeping through India. The country is short on resources. Europe and the U.S. are pledging supplies. Maryland investigates its former chief medical examiner's work after he testified that he would have ruled George Floyd's death inconclusive. A former advisor to Trump is helping lead a new Texas lawsuit. It's the latest to target President Biden's immigration reform. Biden's virus protocols for immigrants are at the heart of the accusations. Democrat Senator Joe Manchin says he prefers a smaller bipartisan infrastructure bill over the expansive plan put forward by the Biden administration. We bring you what he says about going around the filibuster to pass it. Lawmakers in New Hampshire propose a bill that would effectively ban critical race theory. We hear warnings about the theory from a survivor of communism. India's virus cases hit a record peak for a fifth day on Monday. The U.S., Britain, Germany, and other countries are pledging to send urgent medical aid to help tackle the crisis.
The international community is stepping in to help India as it battles a devastating second wave of COVID-19. The US, Britain, France and Germany have all announced they will be sending medical supplies to the country. As cases surge, breaking new records on Monday, hospitals across India are running out of medical oxygen and beds. Patients are dying for want of treatment while they queue outside hospitals, waiting to be seen. The US is sending raw materials to help India manufacture the Covishield vaccine, along with medical equipment and protective gear to help India respond to what has been billed a COVID tsunami. There have also been calls for the US to send its AstraZeneca vaccines that have not been approved for use domestically. President Joe Biden said on Twitter, quote, "We are determined to help India in its time of need." Germany and France have also pledged to send oxygen and medical supplies, and the European Commission said it would respond to an appeal from Delhi for help. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on Sunday a, quote, "storm of infections had shaken his country." The capital Delhi extended its lockdown on Monday to try to arrest the surge. There are concerns that new variants of the virus emerging in India could undermine progress made elsewhere in fighting the pandemic.
A defense witness who testified at Derek Chauvin's trial could be in hot water. He said he would have considered George Floyd's death inconclusive due to various factors. Now, Maryland is investigating the work he did when he was the state's chief medical examiner.
Maryland is investigating reports of deaths in police custody under a former chief medical examiner after he testified that former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin did not kill George Floyd. Chauvin's lawyer tapped Dr. David Fowler to give his expert opinion. Fowler testified that George Floyd could have died due to various factors, including heart disease and drugs. Because of this, Fowler said he would have ruled Floyd's death as undetermined instead of homicide. On Friday, Maryland's Attorney General and Governor said they'll investigate Fowler's work from 2002 to 2019. Dr. Fowler stands by his work. He told the Baltimore Sun he's committed to transparency and will cooperate fully with an inquiry. The investigation could spark accusations it's politically motivated. Conservatives have argued that Chauvin's guilty verdicts were partially due to political pressure. One of Fowler's office's best-known rulings followed the death of Freddie Gray. It said Gray died from injuries suffered in a police van, and that officers' failure to take care of him medically made his death a homicide. The chief medical examiner for Wisconsin's largest county is defending Fowler. We reached out to Maryland's governor for comment, but we haven't heard back yet.
Weekend protests broke out at the southern border. A large group of migrants there are demanding they be allowed to cross and claim asylum in the United States. They marched from Tijuana in Mexico to the San Ysidro point of entry. On Saturday, they chanted and held up homemade signs reading, "We want answers, we want asylum." U.S. authorities closed the border in response. Hundreds of migrants have been living at a makeshift campsite just south of the border since mid-February. They're waiting to enter the U.S. as the Biden administration works to process asylum seekers. Biden's policies have already led more migrants to make the dangerous trek to the U.S.-Mexico border. A former advisor to Trump is helping lead a new Texas lawsuit against President Biden. The state is suing on grounds that Biden's immigration-related executive orders are endangering Texans by releasing illegal immigrants into the country without testing them for the virus first. NTD's Melina Wisecup has more on that.
A new nonprofit group is guiding Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton in his lawsuit against President Biden's immigration reform. It's called America First Legal and is headed by former Trump advisor Stephen Miller. On Fox's Hannity show, Miller accused the Biden administration of setting what he called an illegal policy, mass releasing illegal immigrants infected with the virus during a pandemic. Soon after Biden took office, he signed an executive order to stop expelling illegal immigrant children who cross the border without an adult. But it seems to contradict a Title 42 emergency order from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Title 42 requires all illegal immigrants crossing over from Mexico to be sent back to their home countries, with limited exceptions. Now, Texas plaintiffs are asking a judge to make Biden enforce Title 42. They want the judge to declare Biden's immigration orders illegal, since the pandemic is still ongoing. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the administration is continuing to enforce parts of the Trump-era Title 42, saying Biden is keeping the American people safe and ensuring that they are taking responsible steps as it relates to the pandemic. In this latest lawsuit against Biden, the Texas Attorney General says Biden's actions are unlawful and endanger the public health of Texas and the United States, and that the lack of virus restrictions at the border will slow the economic recovery for the state and the nation. Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
Former President Donald Trump has donated $10,000 to the United Cajun Navy. It's earmarked for search and rescue efforts as the group continues looking for the crew members of a capsized vessel off Louisiana. The president of the United Cajun Navy confirmed the donation to local news outlets. He said the money would be used to bolster search efforts for crew members from the Seacor Power, a 129-foot lift boat. The vessel capsized April 13th off the coast of Louisiana. The group also confirmed the donation via social media. The U.S. Coast Guard's initial search found 11 people. Only 6 were still alive. 8 crew members were still missing when the Coast Guard called off the search. Nonprofit group the United Cajun Navy since stepped in looking for remaining crew members. They sent out boats, aircraft, and ATVs. Senator Joe Manchin says he prefers a smaller, more targeted infrastructure bill to the one proposed by President Joe Biden. He says the GOP proposal is a good start. In the clearest signal he's given yet, Manchin comes out against Biden's multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure package. He tells CNN he supports a smaller bipartisan bill, and he wants it to target conventional infrastructure like roads and bridges, along with broadband internet. Manchin pushes back when he's asked if he's blocking Biden's agenda.
I'm not a roadblock at all. The best politics is good government. I can't believe that people believe that if you just do it my way, and that'll give us the momentum to get through the next election.
Many Democrats want to use the budget reconciliation process for Biden's infrastructure plan. That allows them to bypass the filibuster and pass the bill on a party line vote. Manchin says that would be destructive.
We won't give this system a chance to work. I'm not going to be part of blowing up this Senate of ours, or basically this democracy of ours, or the republic that we have.
Manchin says he's glad Republicans came out with a proposal. He says it has bipartisan support. Manchin holds great power in the closely divided Senate. He can single-handedly block Democrat bills by joining Republicans and maintaining the filibuster. With Manchin opposing Biden's infrastructure plan, it can't get off the ground. Alabama's governor has signed a new bill into law. It bans transgender student athletes from sports competitions designed for athletes of the opposite biological gender. The law focuses on K-12 competition. It makes Alabama the second state in the nation to adopt such a rule. The law says biological females cannot join a male team if there is a female team available, and biological male athletes may not participate in female team competition. Lawmakers in Pennsylvania are looking to get a similar bill passed. State House members say biological male athletes pose a safety risk when competing in women's sports, and that competing against biological males makes it harder for biological females to succeed. But the state's governor has already said he will veto any bills that seek to ban transgender athletes from competing under the gender of their choice. House Republicans in New Hampshire are taking aim at critical race theory. 3 of them have proposed a bill that effectively bans the theory in the state's dealings and training programs. Rallygoers in Concord, New Hampshire spoke out against what they call indoctrination stemming from the theory.
The New Hampshire bill prevents certain divisive concepts based on race and sex from spreading in state contracts, grants, and training programs. One of the bill's sponsors is Republican Representative Keith Ammon, who spoke at a rally on Saturday. He addresses some of the criticism of the bill he is trying to advance in the state's House.
The opponents of the bill they're outright lying about what the bill does. They're saying silly, ridiculous things about it. It'll prevent teaching of women's suffrage or the Holocaust or the history of slavery in the U.S. All that is bunk. It's all just a smokescreen. Don't listen to it, because if you just read the bill, you can see that all those things are not true.
Critical race theory has roots in Marxism. Proponents of the theory see race, gender, and other identities as social constructs that support systems of oppression, according to the Heritage Foundation. But one of the rally attendees, Lily Tang Williams, warns Americans about the theory. She highlights similarities between the theory and tactics Mao Zedong used to gain power during the Cultural Revolution in China.
In Cultural Revolution, they divided people into 5 red and 5 black classes, right? And they in critical race theory, and they divided people into oppressor groups and oppressed groups. So if you are white, male, and question conservatives, and then you belong to oppressors groups. So I just don't like that division, because it sounds familiar to me. It's just divide and conquer.
Another attendee, who goes by Barbara from Harlem, speaks out against critical race theory.
This critical race theory is not based on any godly principles. It's man-made, it's made up, and it teaches racism. They act like this country is so racist you can't make it here. Well, tell people like Oprah that you can't make it here. LeBron James, all of these people are living very successful lives because of the opportunities here in America.
The bill effectively bans the theory by prohibiting dissemination of concepts in certain state government communications that say one race or sex is inherently superior to another, or that New Hampshire or the United States is inherently racist. The bill is currently in the state Senate.
A top European Union official said Sunday that Americans who have been vaccinated against the virus should be able to travel to Europe by summer, easing existing travel restrictions.
The European Union plans to open its doors to Americans who have been vaccinated by this summer. That's according to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Sunday. She told the New York Times, quote, "The union's 27 members would accept unconditionally all those who are vaccinated with vaccines that are approved by the European Medicines Agency." Von der Leyen did not say when exactly travel could resume, but mentioned the agency has approved all 3 vaccines used in the U.S. It's been over a year since the EU largely shut down non-essential travel. Earlier this month, the EU agreed to launch vaccination travel passes to make travel easier for people who have been vaccinated, recovered from infection, or tested negative. Also on Sunday, the EU's vaccine task force chief said they are confident they will be able to produce enough vaccines to achieve its target for immunity of its adult population by the middle of July.
Coming up, Indonesia's president offers his condolences for the Navy crew members lost in an accident. Their submarine went missing during a weapons drill last week. And the International Olympic Committee announces a ban on all gestures of protest, but it differs from the rules of local committees. Find out more here on NTD News.
If you're like me, and I think it's actually most of us, then you're getting really fed up with the nonsense going on inside the banking system. I mean, we've worked hard our entire lives to retire comfortably. We just recovered from the crash of 2008, and it seems like it's about to happen all over again. Look at the too-big-to-fail banks. They're only getting bigger as the Fed hands them trillions of dollars daily, while simple folks like you and me, we're only getting the short end of the stick. That's why I'm glad I found this book called The Bank Failure Survival Guide. Give us a call, and we'll send you a free copy with no obligations whatsoever. Just one American to another, telling you about some options that you might not have considered. Call 866-239-2619 today for your free copy of the Bank Failure Survival Guide. That's 866-239-2619.
What does it mean to devote your life to the truth? Does it mean investigating communist subversion here in America? Does it mean exposing the deadly fentanyl crisis in the Midwest? Or spending late nights and covering deep government corruption? Does it mean persevering over 20 years, even after 4 masked men set one of our printing presses on fire last year? Because at a time when America's traditional values are under attack, it's the responsibility of righteous journalists to uphold truth and tradition.
Organizers are testing out ways to run the Tokyo Olympics during the pandemic. Japan is in a state of emergency with just 3 months before the Games.
Tokyo Olympics organizers tried out a hybrid mixed zone at a Paralympics test event on Monday, where some athletes appeared in person before reporters and others spoke online. Since test events restarted this month, this was the first time that athletes turned up in person to the mixed zone, a staple of sporting events where they speak to reporters straight after competing. On Sunday's track cycling test event in Isu, organizers scrapped a planned in-person rider interviews. Instead, 4 riders were selected to appear on an online meeting platform at the end of the day. Barriers for the mixed zone were set up but went unused. Paralympics organizers are trying to figure out how to hold events safely as Japan battles the global health crisis. Japan declared a state of emergency for Tokyo and 3 other areas from Sunday until May 11th, less than 3 months before the Games are due to start.
The International Olympic Committee is warning athletes they will face punishment if they protest during the Games. Committee officials say it's to safeguard the field of play and official ceremonies.
Athletes looking to make a statement out in the field could be met with punishment from higher up. The International Olympic Committee says athletes who protest by kneeling or raising a fist at official Olympic sites will face punitive measures. According to the Commission's report, the measures are meant to protect the field of play, official ceremonies, and the podium. The Commission also found that roughly 7 out of 10 athletes of nearly 3,500 polled feel it is not appropriate to demonstrate at Olympic events. Slogans like Black Lives Matter are not allowed. The head of the International Olympic Committee said any protests and demonstrations or acts perceived as such should not be allowed in those venues. On the other hand, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee says it will not punish athletes for raising their fist or kneeling while accepting medals in Tokyo. That's as long as they were taking part in so-called racial and social justice demonstrations. The Tokyo Olympics are set to start on July 25th.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo on Monday expressed condolences to the families of the 53 crew members aboard a sunken submarine. It was found a day earlier, broken into 3 parts at the bottom of the Bali Sea.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo sent his condolences on Monday to the families of the crew aboard a submarine found at the bottom of the sea just 1 day earlier.
I send my deepest condolence for the passing of 53 Navy members on board KRI Nanggala 402 who had fallen during an assignment in the waters north of Bali.
In his address to the nation, the president also said the government would pay for the education of the lost crew members' children. Meanwhile, Indonesians mourn the loss of their friends and family members aboard the submarine. One victim's uncle said he hopes the crew members' bodies will be found and returned. The Indonesian submarine had lost contact during a weapons drill last week. The country's top Navy chief blamed the accident on forces of nature and not the crew. More than a dozen helicopters and ships searched the area where contact was lost, with the help of the U.S., Australia, Singapore, and Malaysia. On Sunday, military officials said the submarine had been found broken into at least 3 parts at the bottom of the Bali Sea. Indonesia, Southeast Asia's most populous country, has sought to revamp its military, but its aging equipment has been the cause of several fatal accidents in recent years.
And just ahead, a region of Italy is covered in yellow flowers. The fantastic sight only happens for a few weeks each year. Stay tuned to find out more. A beautiful carpet of yellow flowers is covering parts of the Italian countryside. They herald in spring with a joyous burst of color.
Fields of yellow rapeseed flowers are blooming in Italy's Umbria region. This spectacular view only lasts for a few weeks in April. Once the flowers have died away, rapeseed oil will be made from the seeds. Umbria is known as the green heart of Italy, with a nearby village also putting on a fantastic display of cornflowers, daisies, and poppies a bit later in the season. For the moment, people have been enjoying getting out to see the vibrant colors and to appreciate the change of seasons.
The rapeseed that is in flower these days is just charming. It has really become a paradise even for many keen photographers. It is really beautiful to see it.
One local resident also says the flowers seem to bloom more beautifully this year.
Other years there were flowers, but not like this. This year there are many more fields and it is much more beautiful.
For truck drivers lucky enough to have a route that passes through the yellow fields, it is a welcome change from the boring gray motorway.
Let's turn our attention to health and wellness now by looking at the benefits of drinking lemon water.
Welcome to Strong Mind and Body, I'm Gina Marie. You've probably seen those pictures on Pinterest of large water pitchers filled with bright yellow lemons and 10 reasons why you should be drinking them. Lemon water can bestow vitality and incredible cleansing effects on the body. Replacing your morning coffee with lemon water is a great first step to improve your diet. Lemons are a citrus fruit that are high in vitamin C, which is essential for growth and development. Vitamin C has been studied extensively and shown to have numerous benefits. To name just a few, they protect against prenatal problems, cardiovascular disease, eye diseases, skin wrinkles, and immune system deficiencies. Vitamin C acts as an antioxidant and actually protects the cells from free radicals. But beyond vitamin C, lemons have other properties that make them a perfect way to upgrade a glass of water. So cleansing is actually one of the first benefits that comes to mind when thinking of lemon water. Lemon water is a natural detox that moves toxins out of the body. So toxins come into our body through various sources. One is the food we eat and two is the air we breathe. Citrus flavonoids have been shown to calm an upset stomach or mild indigestion. You can make this digestion aid even better if you include the zest of the lemon. It can improve the good bacteria in your gut. One study has shown that lemons support weight loss. It showed significantly reduced weight gain when a diet high in fat was being consumed. Drinking lemon water and applying it topically can actually help the skin. It's mainly because of the anti-aging properties of antioxidants present in lemons. Research has shown that plant-derived antioxidants were able to reverse the breakdown of collagen fibers in the skin. Collagen gives skin its strength, its structure, and its plumpness. Drinking lemon water on an ongoing basis can bring long-term health benefits. The people who have the most dramatic effects will be those who can replace a morning coffee or soda with lemon water. Drinking lemon water can help with many health issues including cold and flu, joint pain, kidney stones, painful gallbladder, food poisoning, high blood pressure, acid reflux, acne, inflammation, and immune system imbalances.
And that's all for now. Catch us again tonight at 6:30 Eastern. In New York City, I'm Kevin Hogan.
have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't miss out on important news. Our videos are being deleted. So if you don't want to be cut off from honest news, take a moment to sign up for our newsletter at newsletter.ntd.com so you don't lose access to NTD. Go to newsletter.ntd.com to sign up for our evening newsletter.